Do you believe you have a pathway to happiness? You do, we all do, but we just don't believe that all the time. You see, I woke up on October 6th of 2022, and what I heard was, we gave you a pathway to happiness. And I thought that can't possibly be true because I'm not really being happy right now, and I can't hear those words and believe that that is true. That's what we all do. Because, see, we have all heard that we were given everything we need to live a great life and we could be happy. We could do all of those things. And we've heard that forever, but we don't always do it. And now that could be because you have not been shown how to get to your happiness. You don't believe you can have it, or somehow you think that you were the one person born that should not experience that. Or the other reason is, which most of us has, is we're not willing to own ourselves. We're not willing to take the next step in our evolutionary journey and accept the higher version of who we can become, because that's all humans do. When you start understanding that we are all born the same, every human is born the same. The only thing is different is how we think about ourselves. And how we think about ourselves has been accepted by us or either programmed. And then you begin to understand that you can change it all. And then if we begin to change it, then the world starts to change as well, because what you look at will start to seem very, very different. Now, let me tell you why I'm telling you this today, because I had difficulty accepting that message because it came through um 2 years ago on this date, but I'm saying that because there's an alignment in the universe of which we're all connected. You come to understand that too. And everyone has it. When you look at when you were born, and I'll talk about that a little bit because that is your genetic code that's unique to you, and that's probably the difficulty that you have. Because being that unique being and who you were meant to become as you evolve is can be challenging. It was really challenging for me because I was doing things that didn't make any sense at all and that no one else was going to believe, including me. And that's what happens for you. Because, see, when we come into the world, we're supposed to do something new. We're supposed to be unique, but we're listening to everyone else and we're saying, no, don't do that. So when I got up this morning, I was told to just show you a little bit of an example. Imagine your brain as this constantly evolving mechanism that every year accepts new information about who you are. And I will tell you that is absolutely true. And guess what? Our society does the same thing. Our civilization does the same thing. But it can only do that if we decide to do that, because we are the ones who are creating our world, our personal lives, and we're creating our collective world. We all do it. And that's the part that's really challenging for you to accept how vital and how important you are and how meaningful your life was and is, because you're still doing it, you see. But let me read this message to you because it's several messages. This is not published. I just got up and put it down on the, I was guided to do this because I wanted to give it to you because I want you to know that you are living at a time where you could live the best life possible. And I know this. And I know that I was given that pathway. And so let me show you this, though. And a lot of this takes a little letting go of our disbelief, because the only difficulty that any of us have is belief. That's all about what is possible. That's with us individually and also within our world. So I just took a few of the messages over the years because my Wilhelm gives them to me in the synchronicity of them, the dates over the years. They have little to do with anything except to understand that we're always evolving and learning more. And so on the 12th was another, 2012 was another time that changes happened in our consciousness. I'm talking individually and collectively. Okay, so now, but these are just portions of this, of the emails, of the messages that came through. So I'll just talk about them a little bit. It is indeed noble for you to do things for you. There is a thought pattern you have carried that reinforces what you learned, and that was doing things for you would make you selfish or unloving in some way. This is a false idea. And in actuality, one of the most loving things you can do is to do things for you. Now, that one can talk to a lot of people because many of us have been used to living our lives where we're giving away everything to everyone else. So it may take us a while to understand that we're supposed to receive as well. Okay. Anything that you do which holds an element of adventure will always cause you to expand in some manner. You might do well to study the meaning of the word adventure to fully understand this message. Now, see, adventures is something that not all of us are willing to do because that means that we have to step outside of our comfort zone, which into this unknown part of ourselves, which is always in our consciousness. The next one, when you find yourself angry at them, is an indication of your frustration with yourself at your temporary inability to find another response or reaction. You may attempt to argue that you are indeed angry because of what you did, but the fact remains that what you have merely done is destroyed your own sense of peace. And that is exactly what happens, and many people might be going through it right now as our world is changing and you're trying to change the minds of everyone else except your own. That's what we do so many times. Okay, at times your physical life experience might be like baking a cake. This analogy should help you to alleviate some of the constant anxiety you carry about making certain decisions. When you decide to bake a cake, you will combine all the necessary ingredients that you know will deliver the results of the cake you desire. Then you then place that concoction in the oven and wait for the results to be revealed. Now, you may worry that you might bake it too long and cause it to burn, but you never think that the cake will not bake in some manner. What that was talking about is that we are each an ingredient of that come into the earth to create the earth. And so that entire message and analogy was to try to get us to understand that every single ingredient is important. We wouldn't have left anyone out, and God wouldn't have left any person out either. Okay, everything about your life is everything about your life is, always has been, and always will be purposeful. Please study the definition of the word purposeful, and this message, which is an important one for you, will make more sense. Now you have discovered that purposefulness many times in your life, and you will notice that many of your challenging or difficult experience have taken a while before you understand their purpose. The length of time is never important, but the discovery is. That means that anything that we go through, no matter how we might have judged it, we've learned something. And so then when we decide to uncover that, we're in a completely different place and understanding of ourselves. Yeah. You always receive that for what you ask. And if you were to believe that on a deeper level, you would manifest and allow the results you desire in your life to show up much faster. That is a skill of developing your ability to manifest. And that, again, happens in your consciousness when you become aligned with who you are and what your life path is. Now you have won the lottery. We know that that may have seemed to be a strange sentence to get locked in your thinking, but now you will understand why. You and most others believe that when you have acquired certain things, including money, possessions, and even relationships, that you will experience a sense of self for which you have always longed. Then you acquire those things and notice an odd sense of dissatisfaction because there is still seems to be a longing for something more. You realize now it was not about all that stuff, and the sense of self, completeness, and fulfillment could only be found within you. When you come to believe and own this, you will have far more than any lottery might provide. Now, we are so proud of you. While we are saying those words to Roger, you will gain much from his example. Many times it is helpful to review information we have previously given you so you might better understand your process of evolving. Even when you gain an intellectual understanding of what you are attempting to achieve in your lives, you don't do that instantly right away, or for some, never. All you need to do is become willing to step forward. This message will be one of the most brilliant if we can get Roger to let it come through. We acknowledge his difficulty as we are sending through a lot of information, and just like you, he continually doubts himself or what he believes he is hearing. We threw that in because each of you has done this. And as we pointed out, you may be more likely to acknowledge the limitations you have placed upon yourselves. Oh, this is a good one because we're moving through this right now. Shame, guilt, and embarrassment are your friends now. We wanted to use a title that might attract more to read our words, for if you do and attempt to understand and accept them, you will move through the remainder of your restructuring and that of your world with much greater ease. Now, I'm going to just go on because in 2022 is when it was said we gave you a pathway to happiness. When you accept your particular path, you will experience that happiness and have everything else of a physical nature you could want. We know the recent times in your life and world might have been challenging, but they are also for your highest good. We mean on your evolutionary journey and that of your world. Then last year, your, your fear is still of yourself. We have given you similar messages previously, but you must also recognize your reluctance to accept yourself wholly. And that is a process of using your human brain to elevate your spiritual awareness. This process is something you do in your life individually and your world collectively. And then today, the one that is to review last year. You might still fear yourself. That is a natural process you utilize while in physical form, and it would have been exacerbated now due to the restructuring of your world and your evolutionary journey. You can also choose to move more beyond it today. And as you read and absorb this message we provided last year on this date and the video our messenger recorded yesterday, you you will each be surprised by what you discover about yourself when you choose to evolve. It is a choice, as you always have free will. Now, all of those messages, I could not have told you what they meant as they were coming through, but there is a connection. And I'll tell you why I'm doing this because I'm moving on as well because I have to decide to take the path to happiness. And that happiness is going to be when you accept who you are. I couldn't have known that I was going to develop a philosophy to bring to the world during this time of transition. But that's why I understood everything that was happening. It's why I can sit down and answer anyone's question when I'm doing a channeling session with publicly or privately. There's a consciousness that we can all access. I was just happened to give tapped into it. Didn't know that was happening over 35 years, but that is what has gone on. And so now what is happening, I hid just like you might have. I called myself the reluctant mystic for many years because I was still trying to accept what had happened. You will do the same thing because it becomes surprising when we discover what we have within us and then become willing to accept it. But what I know is that everyone has it. And what I was given was a way for you to actualize that. And the reason it was so important now, because as my Wilhelm said, we're moving through restructuring. It means we have to change everything that was old within us and within our world so that we could live greater lives for ourselves and create a much better world. That's the work that I was given. And I had to move through all the lower vibrational, dimensional things you might think of it that were in me because we all have them. I started out, you can see I've written all the articles on my website. Under articles, you can see all of them. Over the years, I've been writing to explain what was happening because, see, we can see it in history as well. We move through changes in our civilization. And when that happens, there's certain things that we come to know or understand in a greater way, and then we can create a much better world. And more of those things were given to me, and I lived them. And so the reason I say I know what my work can do for you because it's healed me, and it's done that for everyone else. The only thing I haven't done is put it all out there. But now that is what I'm doing because I can no longer hide. I'm going to be presenting this to millions of people in the next couple of weeks. That is what is happening. On Tuesday, it's Wednesday, on the 9th, I will be on Coast to Coast AM with George Nuri, and I hope you can catch that. I'll leave a link in this video so you can see that. And then on the 19th of October, I'll be doing a channeling session for Gaia again. It's going to be a conference, and you can all watch that. I'll leave those links as well, because what I'm talking about is planetary ascension, because I understood what was happening in each individual, what you're moving through, because you're moving through your ascension journey. And And that could bring you a lot of fear. You don't understand who you are. You're judging yourself for what you've done before, what you haven't done, whatever it might be. Or you're standing at a place now thinking you're supposed to do something and then doubting yourself. And see, I was given all of that information, but it had to be proven first because I had to live it and be at this age, almost 3 weeks, I'll be 74 and better and more healthy than ever in my life after moving through every horrible, imaginable, physical thing that any human can move through. So I know what you can do. But now what I have to do is do my part as well because I didn't finish. I'm saying that because you won't either. We're always evolving as long as we choose to stay alive in physical form, because the only place that occurs is in our consciousness. And what we're coming to understand now is that we're moving through this great change so that more of us could raise our consciousness so we can have a much better world. And that happens when you release all your judgments, your biases, your prejudices, your all those things that you have carried because your ancestors had them. It's not that you created them. You weren't taught that when you were born. We pick up things. And so, but many of those things are in our consciousness that we don't even have any awareness of. But now is the time to let go of it and move it. And I know you can do it because I've done it. Now, I'm saying this because people will listen to this and say, oh, that can't work. That's a scam. That can't be. That's because you haven't done it. And there's no one who has done this work who could say that that's not possible. And now I'm going to be giving that to millions more, and I'll see how much I can handle. And I will no longer be able to hide, as I don't want you to hide who you are, because you were born with worth and value that was meant to come to the world, and it was meant to do that now, which might be why you're feeling a little uncomfortable even listening to this, but you might be more motivated to move now and love and accept who you have become. Please check out all of my work, and I'll leave the links there. And subscribe to the channel if you haven't done that, and share it with others, because my goal is to just cause as many people to love themselves and become happy and really shift our planet, because you can do it. See you soon.